Hello everybody, Walter here. Welcome to episode 13 of my Let's Play series for Satisfactory 1.0. In the last episode we finally got around to producing some aluminium, and today I would like to at least get started on my actual power plant, which is going to produce all of the power we are going to need until the end of the game. But there is a decent amount of preparation work to do beforehand, so let's jump back into the game and have a quick look where we left off last time. And here we are, right in front of the production facility for the aluminum sheets and the casings. Now, at the end of the last episode, I've also set up a small factory for radio control units, so let's quickly check up on that. Yep, that is at least enough for one milestone. Although I think I'm actually going for a slightly different milestone. So instead of the drones, I'm going for advanced aluminium production, which is going to require a stack here and 2 stacks of the sheets, and then a lot of stacks actually of the wire. That should be all. So let's unlock this one.
Milestone reached. The resource well pressurizer and extractor can harvest nitrogen, crude oil, and water from underground wells. Nitrogen, being a gas, does not need pumps for pipeline transportation. FICSIT does not process most of your metrics, but I do. According to FICSIT predictions, you are exploiting this planet with unexpected efficiency. They did always struggle to see the true potential of things. Nothing about you is unexpected to me, and therefore you are performing exactly as expected.
Happy to not disappoint, I guess. Anyway, next up are a couple alternate recipes. So for one, I'm going to need that pretty soon. Then the turbo blend fuel, which is in a sense the most efficient way to produce turbo fuel. And then we have the diluted fuel, which does away with all of the packaging and unpackaging from the packaged diluted fuel recipe. But except of that, it's basically the same. That is, I think, all I'm going to need for now. Yep, that looks like it. I'm also going to soon need this one, but for that I'll need a little bit more of setup. So let's just add the next hard drive, and let's also grab these here, as I will have need of those. And now I'm just going to make my way over to the crater lake over here, grab all of the collectibles, deal with all of the enemies, and then we are going to get started on the power plant, or at least some of its periphery. And a good while later I have finally cleared out in this area here, and I have to say, traversing all of these cliffs here without rocket fuel is an absolute nightmare. I can't really wait until I have it available again. But we are done with the collecting, so it's time to, well, first grab a man, because obviously with the collecting I should now be able to unlock the last depot expansion. So let's get started on that.
Dimensional expansion finalized to 500%. Despite further efforts, parts could not be broken down further than their elementary particles, nor could the storage become more dense without the particles spontaneously reacting with one another and losing their deconfined state. Yet somehow more matter can now be stored in the same dimension.
We sang our growth song because we like your shallow efforts. Up and down our shallow illusion, up and down disappear in the deep.
That is very thoughtful, I think. I appreciate the attempts at sharing scientific knowledge, however perhaps we should wait until we have a more optimal way of exchanging data.
I guess that is supposed to come before we finish with the plotline around the collectibles themselves, huh? Anyway, next up on the agenda is a little wet concrete setup here, because all of this here is going to need tons of concrete, and I'm not sure I have enough reserves back at the home base. And I have a note here, so why not make use of that? Now for power, I'm actually going to use my first geothermal generator all the way over there, which is a pure geyser. and produces an average of 400 megawatts, which is a lot. Now, geysers are a bit special because they produce a varying amount of power, so I need some of those power storages. And in case of a pure node, it's 2 power storages, and it varies between 200 and 600 megawatts. So, that is the power done. And now I just need the refineries for the concrete. And it turns out I just needed 1 refinery, at least if I overclock it to 250%. Now I'm getting a nice 200 concrete per minute. I did consider summer slooping it, but unfortunately I don't have the power for that, so that will have to be enough. The concrete for now is being stored in those large storage containers here with the depots on top. And hopefully that will be enough of a reserve that I won't have to stop once I get really going with the building. But it's time to actually begin over in this area here with a floor with a logistics crawl space right below it. And just like in this here. Now, it's time for the refineries. So I am going to need one of those here. And that needs to be placed properly aligned. So half and half, that looks good. The recipe in here will be heavy oil residue at 50% overclocking. The input on this side is just a pipe junction. And just on the safe side, I'm going to use a clean pipeline Mark II. The output on the other side will be again a Mark II. Like so. And the second output is the polymer resin, which is going to go through a floor hole. And then Mark I conveyor down. And then into a merger. Yep, looks good. And there's still one thing missing. This is power. So let me see. Is this... Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that looks very good indeed. And should be easily tileable. Now, that is almost everything. It does just need a little bit more color coding. So I am certain what is what. And yeah, that is 1 refinery, and now I need 22 more of these. So 12 on this side here in total, and 11 on this side over here. And here we go. All of the refineries are in place, as are the interconnections with the pipes for the heavy oil residue, currently only leading to over there, the power wire, and the belts below the floor. I've also decided to add a little bit of lighting around the space so it's not completely dark during the night. Now, next up is, for one, grabbing the crude oil from this cave over there, bringing it to the 2 lines here. And for the other, just finishing with this part of the build, which will for the most part be just a bit of a fence around and a central walkway. And to speed this up a bit, I decided to just reuse the oil platform as well as the pipelines for my oil processor. Now, the oil itself simply makes its way down the slope here, all the way to this spot over there, where it's moved below the floor, and then one goes up here, and the other goes all the way to this corner, and then up there, into the refineries. For the walkway, I decided to just use glass roofing, so you can actually see through. And yeah, that's the heavy oil residue done. And now, it's time to deal with the polymer resin. For that, though, I'm going to start by just expanding this double floor here a bit, so I have enough space to work with. And now I can grab a refinery and place it right next to this one there, with just a little bit of distance in between. This one here will go for residual plastic, and only this refinery here will also be overclocked by 50%. I should have enough space for all of the others to not be overclocked. Then, let's grab a conveyor lift here. And another one over here. This one here can be Mark 1. And the other one needs to be a Mark 2. Then Mark 2. And Mark 1. Then this one over there gets a splitter to the face. And this one here a merger. And I think that merger should actually go in this direction. So, then I'm going to need a second merger over here. It should be in a line. Like so. Then Mark 4 conveyor. Another Mark 4 conveyor. And then a Mark 5 conveyor. Let's go the other way around. Like so. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, then. Let's see. This is all in place. I almost forgot about the power. So let's put that in place. And now all that's missing is the pipes for water. So just going to need to move that in there. And this time Mark 1 should be enough. I don't need a Mark 2. So this one here will transport water. Then this one here will produce plastic, which is going to be output there. And then over here we are still dealing with the polymer resin. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. So all that's left is adding another 10 of these here just without the overclocking. And once that is in place, it's time to worry about handling the plastic. And I almost forgot about the water, but this is now also in place. And now I can grab a couple constructors and use them to turn the plastic into empty canisters. And I'm going to need 7 2/3 worth of constructors for that. Let's see, how many can I squeeze in here? So that's 5. Okay, that works out quite nicely actually. So I'm overclocking this 50%, as am I doing with the other ones. And this one here is going to go a little bit further to 1 2/3. Okay, that is indeed done. Now for the outputs, I'm going to just run a merger line. Not going to do this below the floor, since the output will also run above the floor. They all have an output of 90. Except for this one, which is 100. Subsequently, I need a Mark 3 here, and then the Mark 4. And then this one here is the actual output, which goes to... a bit too short. Up to the spot here. And, yeah, let's for now actually put in a smart splitter. Somewhere around here. So, overflow to the side. And that is where I'm going to place my awesome sink. Like there, for example. Connect it there. Then this will need a little bit of power. Completely temporary, as you can guess. And then connecting there. Okay, so then let's have a look. I still need to deal with the input, which is going to go through a floor hole. Then let's, for now, make a hole so I can get down. And then here we have the outputs. Oh, no, actually the inputs. And they get connected via splitters, which need to be connected with this line over here. And I'm just going with the Mark 3 all the way through. Okay, that should be all I need to do below. For the most part at least. And now I just need to connect them to some power. I also decided to add a little bit of a roof on top, since this corner was looking a bit bare bones. But now I think it's a good time to power everything up. So let's run a wire from, let's say, here to here, which connects it to the power storage over there. And okay, this is all lit up. That's good. Now let's check if we have some crude oil coming in. Yep, that's good. And that's also good. Okay. And here we go. That's the first refinery starting to run. And we have heavy oil residue coming in. Okay, that is looking very good. And oh, they are ramping up pretty quickly already. Very nice indeed. Now, let's check over here. The water is running. It will take a decent amount of time since the pipe makes its way all the way to the corner over there, since that was the only way I could figure out without any kind of clipping. Okay, polymerization is already coming. The water will have to make its way through here at some point. Let's see. Maybe there's already water coming in. So let's see. Okay, this is starting to fill up. And that is still filling. Okay. But it looks at least. Good. Okay, water is coming. Okay, good. That is the plastic production working. I'm pretty confident this is also properly connected, so I think it's now time to, well, first switch over to the hover pack, which makes building so much easier. And now it's time for the next platform, which will be somewhat slim but long, as you can see right here. Now it's time to produce some fuel. For that I'm going to need a couple blenders, which are going to need to be aligned in the middle there, and with this edge. Yep, looks good. Then I'm just going to need 4 in total here for now. The first one runs diluted fuel at 120. Then the next one runs it at 150. And another one. And the last one runs it at 133 and 1/3. Just like that. Now, they need as an input the heavy oil residue. And I'm going with a little bit of a distance since I need 2 different liquids for these. Then the pipes. Oh, let's actually add one more for an overflow later on. So, then let's quickly connect these here. And then color code them. So we don't forget what is going through those pipes. So that is looking pretty good already. Now 1 layer up, or 2 meters up, I need the water. Again, color coded. Now these 2 I'm going to run through the floor from there on. Let's see if this works. Yep, that looks good. And that as well. So, water. And heavy oil residue. Okay. Now, for the outputs. Let's start with the last 3 here. Those I'm just going to fuse together. With a Mark II. And since this is fuel, it's going to keep at that color. Now for the last one, I'm actually going to need a couple packages, so let's grab these. And then, middle of the platform. Yep, that looks good. I should be able to put in all 3 I need. Yep, looks very good. Those are going to package the fuel, which is going to be produced over there. So for that, I am going to need a couple splitters. And a smart splitter over here. I temporarily got rid of the awesome thing since, well, I needed that space here. And for the most part, this is still gridlocked with the pipes being full. Now, this one here is overflow front, and to the side is NE. That will run with a Mark II, and then a Mark I into those three here. Now, I need a raised platform, so I can put in a couple junctions for the pipes. Like so. And this time the Mark I is actually sufficient. Now, let's get this here done. So how do I want to do this? It's not in line with the other ones. That looks a bit strange. Okay. Doesn't look perfect, but could be worse. Okay, I think in this case I'm going to leave these here in place, otherwise it looks a bit strange. Okay, now for the outputs, I am going to need just a couple mergers. And the rest will have to remain as is for right now. Then I have my output here for the canisters, and yeah, now it's time to connect everything here to power. Like this here. Now without water this is not going to run yet, but before I work on that, I am going to work on the next step actually, which is Petroleum Coke. So that is the middle here, and was the middle over there. So that looks good. I have space for 3 refineries, so I need to overclock a bit. Now, this is going to produce Petroleum Coke at 240 or 200%. This is the same. So, for 80 I need 650, so I need 170 here. Okay, so then let's worry about the input, which is just the heavy oil residue. I've already connected these here to these down here, so just need to connect them up like so. And then I can very easily connect them over here. Now, next up are a couple mergers. And yeah, just going to merge this in this direction here. And that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I can actually color code a little bit though. And I also need power. So really should make a little blueprint just for this part here. But whatever. I obviously need to connect them to the rest, but that can wait for a few more minutes. So that is all connected. Now it's time for the water. And that will come from down there, up here. And I have some space over here, so I'm just going to put down a couple water extractors here and connect them to the pipe over there. And that's the water handled. So now we should start seeing some fuel being produced and even packaged. That is very nice to see here. Then let's continue on over here in this area with a little bit of an overflow, because currently I'm not actually using all of the heavy oil residue that's being produced on this pipe here. So I'm going to need to connect these two here and these two. Then I can get rid of these for a moment and replace them rotated like so. Then I can connect them like that, and that makes for the perfect overflow mechanic for liquids. Okay. Very nice indeed. And now let's also run the third pipe along. Like so. Okay, that's this part done for now at least. I will actually only need to continue with 2 pipes from here on. The 3rd pipe is already handled via the overflow. So, okay, that looks better. Now, next up on the agenda is for one, worrying about the walkway, and for the other, of course, fencing again and also some lighting potentially to clean up this entire build a little bit. And there we go. Everything is now in place. And the next step would be taking the heavy oil residue, the fuel, the petroleum coke, and some sulfur from somewhere over there, and turn it into turbo fuel. But having a look at the clock, I think I'm going to do this in the next episode. It's a bit late for continuing, and yeah, I'll see you in the next episode when we are going to continue and likely or hopefully finish with this power plant here. And that brings us to the end of this episode here. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and comment. It really helps with the algorithm. Independent of that, I wish you a nice day, and well, see ya.